Hello Year 11, so welcome to your second lesson during this week you've got at home. So we are looking today at Meanders and Oxbow lakes. These are found in the middle course of the river and are both erosional and depositional landforms. So if you remember your long profile diagrams, these are in the centre section where the erosion and deposition cross over. So red, grades 1 to 3, you need to be able to identify Meanders and Oxbow lakes. So grades 4 to 6 for amber, you should be able to describe the characteristics, some of the characteristics of the formation, and green, you are explaining the formation of both Meanders and Oxbow lakes. So just to get you started off, anyone know what the name of the river is, where it's located, and think about why it's that shape? Have a think about some of those things and jots down some notes. Obviously quite a famous image. So what is a meander? Think about what meander means to you, sort of weaving through, not really going in a direct line. They are bends in rivers. They're found in the lowland areas in the middle course where the gradient is quite low, the river's quite flat. What we get is, in the early stage, you get this idea of shallow areas, riffles in the riverbed, and then we have deeper sections, pools, so it's going shallow and deep. This then gives us a motion which is called helicoidal flow, where the water starts to corkscrew and bounce from one bank to the other. That then starts erosion and deposition and starts our meander formation. So a bit like the V-shaped valleys interlocking spurs, our river starts getting deflected. We get our fast flowing water, which is also known as the thalweg. That's found on the outside of a bend because that increases the hydraulic power, increases the energy available for abrasion. That allows erosion to occur. In our deep spot we get our pool, we get our steep river cliff on the outside of the bend, and then it bounces back, comes across, forms the next river cliff, and then forms the next river cliff. On the inside of those bends, because the water flow is slower, think back to that Hillstrom curve a few lessons ago, their deposition will occur, material will fall out, and that will become shallower. So effectively the whole bend will move towards the outside. We get these asymmetric cross profiles. So if you have a look there, A and A cross profile across one of the riffles, the shallow points, is a symmetrical channel. Fastest flow in the middle, the thalweg down the middle. If you then look at the B to B cross profile, would be the same at C to C, you've got your asymmetric profile. The erosion is taking place on the outside, on the right hand side in that cross profile, deposition occurring on the inside, the left hand side on that profile. Now eventually what happens is our meanders cut off. You can see there in the photograph, those meanders, those bends will be working towards the outside, and eventually that river is going to join. So it cuts off a loop of the river as they migrate towards each other at what we call the neck, and that then forms a lake with a distinctive shape, the old meander. The shape is then what we'd call an oxbow lake. The channel then flows down the new channel, which is straighter, causing less resistance, and the river flows down there out of preference. That meander gets cut off, deposition occurs in the entrances, eventually that will fill in, and eventually it will disappear completely. So what we're going to do now, you can watch a video. There'll be a link below this in the YouTube comments. There will also be a link on the Show My Homework page and also in Teams. Those links will take you to this video here, which you'll be able to play. I can't embed this within the video due to copyright.
Hello everyone. In this video we can be looking at two river features. These features form in the mid to lower part of the river, and we're going to be looking at a meander and an oxbow lake. Now, to look at a meander, we need to first look at the cross-section of it and to figure out why it moves or it meanders from one side to the other. Now, the reason why this occurs is because no river is evenly shaped. It's got an irregular pattern. And as you can see, you've got a section over here that we've named the thalweg, and you've got another section on the right-hand side. Now, the deeper the water, the less contact it has with the sides, the less friction this therefore generates, the higher the velocity, and therefore the more erosion is going to occur. This occurs in the deeper part of the river, and that's the part that we've labelled the thalweg. In the shallow part of the river, however, the opposite applies. There is more friction, therefore there is deposition. And what tends to occur is that therefore the whole river channel tends to shift to the left. It tends to shift in the direction of the deepest part of the river, or it shifts towards the part or towards the bank which has been subjected to erosion. Now if we look at this and how this looks like from a top-down view, we can see that we've got a river channel over here, and I'm going to label in the phallweg that moves side to side. Now on the outer part of the phallweg, the parts that I'm putting a red asterisk on, these are the parts that exhibit erosion. And with the green asterisk, these are parts that have deposition. So eventually, as you can see in diagram number 2, what happens is that the river channel moves, it meanders, and it always moves to the part that it's eroding. Therefore it's going to move left for the erosional part at the top, and in the middle it's going to move right, and it's going to move left again. And you can see from diagram number 2 that it's taken, or how it's diverged from the previous shape. Now eventually this meandering channel will meander even further, as we can see in diagram number 3. And what occurs over here is that the meanders become so tight that they come very close to each other. And what can occur is that the neck can potentially be breached, and that's that narrow part, as you can see that I've labelled, during maybe a flood or something like that. And after it becomes breached, water wants to take the easiest passage, and it starts to deposit silt, in the neck. And you can see in the last diagram what then occurs is that eventually this neck, or this big meander, will become separated, and that is that feature that's called an oxbow lake. You can see in the final diagram. Now finally in this picture you can see over here I'm labelling in some oxbow lakes, I'm labelling in a meander.
So what I want you to think about is a meander is, so a bend in the river. What is it when is it a bend in the river, or when the bend is cut off to form a straight channel? Meanders and oxbow lakes are found in the upper course of the river. Is that true or false? And what is the name of the flow that has a corkscrew effect? Is that the phallweg or the helicoidal flow? Now there's a copy of this worksheet available to you on Show My Homework, also in Teams, and I've also got a copy of the textbook page you need. I want you to make sure you complete that worksheet, make sure you've got all of those things done. If you can't print and use the worksheet, if you don't want to draw it out, just make sure you've got all of those things noted down on paper, or if you did take your book home, note it down in your books. So last task, this is the thing I really want you to hand in, submit however you want to. Explain how an oxbow lake could form on the river shown in figure 1. Remember the rules, you really need to be making sure that you use the figure, refer to the figure, and then fully explain it. So think about level 3, 5 to 6 marks. Detailed explanation of the formation of an oxbow lake. I'd like you to go ahead and do that. Once you've done that, in a second, I'm going to show you a model answer. And you can then purple pen your answer. What I want handed in is that sort of first attempt of your answer, and then you purple pen afterwards, just so I can give you a bit of feedback on how your exam question is going. So have a go at that now, and then a pause, and then I'll come back to you with a model answer. Okay, so your model answer, explain how an oxbow lake could form on the river shown in figure 1. So like I say all the time for exam questions that have got figures in them, let's just bang that figure in straight away in our answer. So there are many meanders shown in figure 1. Covered that, now we need to really go through our explanation. So the current is fastest at the outside bend of a meander because the channel is deeper. That's be our first mark. Hydraulic action and abrasion, so we're throwing in our key processes. These erode the outside bank of the river. Over time, erosion causes meanders to migrate across floodplains and get closer together. So obviously we've used the term meander and migrate there, just to make it really sort of geographically accurate. The outside bends continue to get closer till there's only a small bit of land left between the two outsides of bends of a meander. This is called the neck, getting another key term in. The river breaks through the neck, usually during a flood, to create a straight channel. Material is deposited across the shallow parts of the channel, which eventually cuts the meander off and creates an oxbow lake. Real question for you now is, how many of you used a diagram or diagrams? We went through this in coasts. There is nothing to stop you having done this through annotated diagrams. That's the really key thing to do. Purple pen your answer, make sure you've used all those key terms, make sure you've really covered it well. Okay, just a final task for you to do, just to wrap up. We need you to help Meander Hart. So she's been asked to teach a lesson on meanders and oxbow lakes. She doesn't know much about them. I would like you to write a short crib sheet giving her all of the knowledge she's going to need to teach her lesson. Okay, so remember, key thing I want submitted from you is that exam question, and also there's the links to the other videos. Hopefully see you guys after half term. Enjoy half term, and I'll see you soon.
And over here in the white line you can see this is the previous shape that the river would have had, and you can see that it's broken the neck twice in this river. Thank you very much for watching, and have a really good day.